If you watched CitizenCon and paid attention to the FPS panel, you may have noticed that CIG said that they intended to increase the time to kill to make the game have a higher TTK. What a higher TTK means is that it takes a longer time to kill somebody. So basically you have to shoot them longer in order for them to enter a down state or be killed. This is overall the type of gameplay mechanic I prefer. I'm a fan of a longer TTK. It's one of those things that I think is better for games, it's better for both new and experienced players, and it makes the game just a whole lot better in general. Ironically, one of the things that makes space combat in Star Citizen a lot more enjoyable than ground combat is the longer time to kill. It does, and may the Lord forgive me for using this phrase, it does allow for more quote-unquote skill expression by having a longer time to kill. If a player gets a jump on you and you're a better shot, you can turn around and kill him by landing more consecutive shots. If you turn a corner and you are face-to-face with an opponent, and you have better aim and tracking, you can land more headshots and kill him, whereas he may not be able to do the same and kill you. There is a very erroneous belief that a shorter time to kill, which means players die faster, is a lot more skillful. That is absolutely incorrect. But before we get to that, we are going to jump into a lot more into this video and kind of break things down, explain them. We're going to go over the current TTK and the proposed TTK and a whole bunch of other stuff. The B-roll that you see in this video in the background, you should pay attention to it. It's me playing Star Marine. This is me killing players with the current live TTK. This is what some people think is skilled. I disagree. Anyway, let's begin. The pros of a high TTK system are that it allows for players to react to incoming damage and makes fights a lot less decisive. It also encourages group combat because it takes away the power from one player to kill 2, 3, or 4 players in rapid succession. This may sound like a negative to some people out there, but I would implore you to think about something else other than yourselves and think about the team play element of this title, right? It's team games, it's an MMO supposedly, and that means team fights are going to happen. Another good thing about a high TTK is allowing for more weapon variety. If everything kills in 1 or 2 hits, there's really no room for variety. A great example of this is if you play something like Rainbow Six Siege. Everything kills in 1 shot to the head, so the guns just really don't matter in that game. They're not that impressive and they're not that diverse. Whereas if you have a longer time to kill, weapons can be tweaked to behave differently, they can be used for different roles, different scenarios, or even made to accommodate different styles of play. Do you prefer a more rapid time to kill with a higher rate of fire and a lower damage per shot, or do you prefer a lower rate of fire with a higher damage per shot? This is a mere example, and the most basic of examples, of how you can build a play style around a weapon that allows a player to have a bit more agency and choice. That's something that only you can get with a game that has a higher time to kill. It's as simple as that. There are some cons with a higher time to kill. I don't think there are that many, and they don't all personally bother me, but some people do not like the perception of bullet sponginess, quote-unquote, where it takes a lot of shots to kill a target, and they are looking more at the total shots to kill versus the overall time to kill. They're perceiving the shots, and they're not understanding the time. So that's the issue. Another issue is that certain weapon types, if they are not reined in, and this is in Star Citizen's case, if LMGs are not reined in, weapons with a higher magazine count will always be better because a reload time is factored into that time to kill. So if you have a weapon with a deeper magazine and you don't properly balance them, then those weapons are probably going to be better. So in SC's case right now, if you were to implement a longer time to kill and did not nerf LMGs, they would simply be, they'd still be overwhelming and overpowering. Oh, and if you ever played Battlefield Bad Company 2, then you remember the M60 and the meta class in general and how OP that was with that game's TTK until it was finally reined in. To help better illustrate this, I'm going to give you some examples. We're not going to focus much on this, but examples of games with a higher time to kill would be Halo, Destiny, PlanetSide 1, Battlefield Bad Company 2. Those are all games that had a slightly higher time to kill, around, I believe, 1.5 seconds, especially in the case of Halo, give or take. An example of games with a low time to kill are, well, currently, Star Citizen as it is now. Games like Rising Storm, Squad, some of the more modern Call of Duty games definitely have a much faster time to kill. And of course, Tarkov. People like that game, and that's got a very low time to kill. So the current Star Citizen TTK is 0.5 seconds or lower. Okay, 0.5 seconds or lower. It is under 1 second, roughly half of a second. And I've got this on the screen here so you can look at this chart yourself. This is how it currently is. This is some of the fastest time to kill in any game I've ever played. And keep in mind, this is a space game where everything takes way too much time. Where you are loading up, taking time, traveling, going from point A to point B. Time is a massive investment in this game. And you mean to tell me that you're going to have a game where you land, you get into a firefight, and somebody randomly nicks you in the head or jumps you in a corner, and you're instantly dead? No recourse, no nothing. And look at the weapons. Look at the weapons. Look how pointless all these weapons are. There's no variance here. There's no difference here. This is a perfect example of everything wrong with a fast TTK game. Next, I'm going to show you the current proposed changes that are live on Pyro. The average here is about 1.5, which is pretty good. And you can see all the changes here. The one thing that may stand out to people are the shots to kill, which is the STK part here. They're pretty high. These don't personally bother me. But again, focus on the TTK, not the shots to kill. You can adjust the shots to kill. This can be brought down through editing. You can either increase the damage and reduced rate of fire, which will lower the amount of shots to kill while keeping the TTK the same. If you want to keep the rates of fire, you can simply increase the amount of rounds per magazine and keep it around there. But let's not get lost in the shots to kill. Let's focus on the time to kill. This is much better. This will allow a lot more things to happen in Star Citizen that currently are not happening. Star Citizen needs a longer time to kill because it's a game where inconvenience is a pretty big part of it. You don't just die and respawn. You die, you have to go buy your gear, re-equip your gear, call your ship, quantum out to your location, fly down to atmosphere, land, get out of your ship, etc., etc., etc. There's so much more you have to do. So Star Citizen absolutely needs a longer TTK for that. If death is going to take so much time, it needs that. It also needs a longer time to kill because Star Citizen it wants to be a good game. And good games have a longer time to kill. I'm sorry, I'm not going to compromise on this. If you want a lightning fast TTK, go play garbage like Call of Duty, go play the newer Battlefield titles, go play any of that stuff, go play any games like that. There are games where a faster time to kill works. And that's fine, they're made for it. Enlisted, for example, I enjoy playing Enlisted. That game has a very low time to kill. You die in like 1 or 2 hits, but you respawn instantly. Rising Storm, same thing. Those games are made for a low time to kill. Star Citizen is not made for that. It is a team-based MMO where supposedly large team battles are going to take place, alright? You can't have people getting scragged by one guy in a corridor and have no time to react. It's just bad gameplay. By increasing the time to kill in Star Citizen, it does a few things. One of the things, we've gone over it several times, I'll go over it real quick again, is it allows you to react and it increases the skill ceiling of the game. It allows players to react and fire back on targets, makes it a bit more skilled, and it also allows players to, if they have to, retreat, run away, and get a better position. Turning a corner and getting shot is not instantly death. You can get away, you can relocate, you can reposition. There's a lot more tactical opportunities introduced to the game by having a longer time to kill. Additionally, wounds become something. Actual medical gameplay becomes something to consider. You don't really see that. There's a ton of different status effects in Star Citizen that happen when you take certain amounts of damage per limb. You don't ever get to experience that currently because you just fall over dead. If medics want to be medics, then people have to be alive so they can be retreated and, healed back to health or taken to stations or whatever it may be. It also becomes a lot more, I don't like to use this word either, but it becomes a lot more immersive whenever you survive a firefight, you're wounded, you're limping back, people are giving you triage, things like that. It also creates more of a team play environment. If somebody is so critically wounded that they need to be helped, you have to drag them, heal them, and then cover the guy doing it. You don't get this because they're just dead in current Star Citizen. So you're allowing that type of gameplay to emerge. Also, if you really want to get down to it, it allows for some roleplay. If you want to negotiate, if you're like, hey man, there's 3 of us here, we're probably going to kill you, you don't have a chance, the fights aren't going to be over instantly, you may actually have a chance to get some of that emergent gameplay coming out too, where you're negotiating, bringing people out, or just making your own fun. You can't have any of this with the current live low TTK system. It just doesn't happen. People just fall over dead. Simply increasing the time to kill in Star Citizen, while good, it's not just a blanket thing that you can do and expect the game to work just fine. A couple changes have to be made. If you want this to feel good, and understand, it does have to feel good, you're going to have to make some changes. You're going to have to either increase the damage per shot and lower the rate of fire so it doesn't take as many shots to kill, or you're going to have to increase the magazine capacity while keeping the current rate of fire so that it doesn't take a percentage of your magazine to kill somebody. You're also, and this is a very important one, you're going to have to reduce significantly the amount of damage that drops off over range. Right now, it's incredibly extreme. It's like 30 meters, and your damage begins to fall off very steep. Very, very steeply. It has to either be, rough example, extreme is like removed, or drastically increase the effective range of all weapons so that it's hardly noticeable. I would prefer just not to be there. I think damage drop-off is silly. I don't care, but I know it's an opinion that not many people have. I don't expect people to have that. But I like consistent damage. And I think most people like consistent damage too, whether they know it or not. And this is the best way to get consistent damage. Another thing that has to happen, and this is more of a bug fix, but I'm going to mention it anyway because I know some Yahoo will bring it up. If you get shot in Star Citizen now, things like backpacks and frag grenades and magazines, knives, weapons, they count as, I don't know, they're invulnerable. They block bullets, which artificially increases the time to kill. Well, you'd fix that, right? That's another thing that has to happen. But again, these changes have to happen for it to feel good and play good in Star Citizen. It's not enough just to copy paste it in there and expect it to work. Another thing, and this is the last one I'll bring up too, is LMGs. Again, if you do not address those weapons, they will be, as always, the de facto go-to weapons. That will have to be addressed. That magazine pool, that rate of fire, that damage, makes them still the only option. And finally, sniper rifles. People are going to bring this up. Well, what about sniper rifles? I'll give you one, and I'll give you this, and I'll say this right to your face. I don't think any weapon in this game should one-shot. Not even sniper rifles. Period. They can cause extreme wounds. You have a heavy helmet on, you get shot in the head. Why do you have to die? Because other games do it? So what? Who cares what other games do? Do what's good for the game. If a sniper rifle hits a limb, I would rather have it immediately damage that limb. Bring it up to a serious wound. Bring it down to a tier 1 injury for all that matters. I don't care. Make it so it's not just a one-shot. You get hit with a sniper rifle, you've got a serious wound that has to be addressed. That's just but one of a few examples I can give. So, think outside the box. Don't think about just what other games do. Think about what works for Star Citizen. If you've been on the forums, you probably noticed that there are some players complaining about the longer time to kill. And you might be saying, why is this? Why, if this is such a good thing and the devs want to do it, why are there people complaining about it? Well, the short answer is that they're bad. That's it. Bad players love a low time to kill. They love that fast TTK where you just burst somebody and they fall over dead. It allows a bad player to kill a good player. Some might argue that's good, and I think that within certain contexts and certain games, it is good. It's not as simple as a skill issue because a bad player will benefit from a higher time to kill in that they can live long enough to learn, to react, or take cover. But that's generally why people like the faster TTKs, is because they're bad. Another reason why they like it is they want to be the hero of the story. You see it all the time. They say, oh yeah, the individual skill expression lets me go. I'm so good I can, with one mag, kill 3 or 4 dudes. Because they're not paying attention, and that just makes me feel awesome and makes my neurons fire. It activates my almonds. That's it. You could really sum it up is that they're arrogant, they're narcissistic, they're bad, and they're stupid. So you could, that's really it. You could sum it all up as that. There's really not much else to say. They're selfish, and they're not interested in a better game. They're interested in a better game for themselves, not for everybody else. So in closing, this is all very good. These are very good changes coming up, but there has to be a few things that also happen to help facilitate this. I'm a good player, and I'm telling you, and if you've watched this B-roll at any point in time, I think it speaks for a couple things. One, it tells you how garbage the current system is and how bad the fast TTK is. And also, I directly benefit from this. I'm one of those quote-unquote good players that can walk into a room and kill 3, 4, or 5 people. And I'm telling you, that's bad gameplay. I am not in this for myself. I am in this for a better Star Citizen for everybody involved. If 2 players jump me, I want them to have a very, very good chance of killing me. 3 or more, that's fine. I am not here to be a hero that turns the tables and kills 4 people on my own. That can happen with force multipliers, and there can be force multipliers for infantry, but that's something for a different video.